Hi, and welcome along to the All Guns Blazing podcast with my man DT. Like what you just popped up there?
You like that? How you doing?
You know what? I never thought I'd actually say this. I kind of miss you, man. I never thought I'd say this, man. I never thought that those words would come out of my mouth. I was like, yesterday, I had expressions on the show, and I was going, you know what? I actually miss DT. I just miss him, man. He's ranting and he's chatting rubbish and going on about how he beat us and blah blah blah. I actually miss DT. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing? I miss you too, man. It seems weird, and we're not next to each other on like the table, and we're cussing and rowing and all kinds of madness and everything else. But it is what it is at the moment, isn't it? We have to do what we got to do.
Social distancing, man. And you know what? We were just kind of talking about it off air, where we were saying that with the weekend being so nice, people might be tempted to go outside and stuff like that, but you've got to just stick to it. You've got to stay in.
I actually worry for the state of this country because of the weekend. If ever there was a time right now that I wish the British weather was its usual self, it was right now. You can guarantee, Robbie, that if life was normal and this was an Easter weekend bank holiday where we could all go out and do whatever, it would be pissing down with rain right now. You can guarantee it. But because we're locked up, the British weather's gone, you know what? Have 24, 25 degrees. And it's like, oh my dear God.
Yeah, if we would have got that coronavirus at the start of the year, like what China did, right? It was pissing down with rain practically. Remember, like we go to games and get absolutely soaked, right? Oh. So might have got away with it a bit. People would have been staying inside naturally, but at the moment the weather is really unseasonably nice over here. But just before we get into today's subject, the guys from 888 Sport, they've thrown this one at us.
I can't believe what I'm about to say here, lads, but I think that the season needs to be voided.
What? Void that, lad. Void that. Yeah.
Nah.
Void it.
Why?
Finish it. Over.
Genuinely, what is your reasoning behind that?
Yeah.
Because it can't be finished. And we know that anything can happen in football. If any club knows that anything can happen in football, it's Liverpool Football Club. If we're going to predict what happens, we know it's totally unpredictable. And therefore, we can't award something without being guaranteed that was going to be the actual outcome.
So, we've discussed this many a times. Should the season be voided?
I think it should. I genuinely believe, and I'll tell you why, right? This is not a Liverpool thing. Let's get this right for all of the Liverpool fans that will no doubt be in the comment section saying DT hates us. It's just because of us. It's not, right? The fact is that thousands upon thousands of people are dying, right? They're being affected by the coronavirus. And right now, the one thing we should not be worrying about is playing a game of football. I see recently the antics, shall we say, of Kyle Walker and what he got up to recently. And do you know something that never hit me immediately? That report came out a couple of days after Pep Guardiola's mum had passed away from coronavirus. And I'm sitting there thinking, how must you be as a manager thinking your mum's just passed away from this, virus, and one of your players is flouting government guidelines? You know what I mean? And we're in such a situation right now where I just don't think that we should be playing football in any way, shape, or form while everything around us is not normal.
Not now, but what I'm saying is, there's rumours that this lockdown could continue to say May, the end of May, right? But one thing that could, I hear what you're saying. Right now, nobody's really that, there's bigger things going on, obviously. But something that could lift the spirits, though, would be to see some football, wouldn't it? To see some sport go. Because me personally, right, turning on my TV every bloody day and, you know, just getting the number count of how many people have passed away, and that is very depressing. I mean, we have to know these things. It's a very serious thing, and, you know, condolences to all their families and that. But to just, if you're just hearing that wall to wall, wouldn't it be nice for something every now and again just to take your mind away from that? We're all going through it. We're all doing our bit. But just if there was some football going on, like this weekend, Arsenal would have been playing Wolves. That would have taken our mind. Even if it's behind closed doors now, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I'd take that right now.
What, no? Wolves away? I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't take Wolves away right now. Jesus Christ. But it's, do you know what? The thing is, Robbie, is that my issue with it all is that, and Kevin De Bruyne made a very good point in something that he said a week or so ago, is that once you go around about 6 weeks no football, footballers need a pre-season then. All right. Once you go 6 weeks without football, you need a good pre-season. You need about 4 weeks worth of pre-season. Yeah.
In 4 weeks. Why?
No, because you do, because these are athletes, right? They're playing at
everybody be in the same boat. Everyone's going to be in the same boat.
No, but listen, what I'm trying to say is I'm going to take what the likes of Kevin De Bruyne are saying, who actually play the sport and understand the physicality and what is their bodies are needed. And he said that what will happen is that all the games are so congested and you're going to play, you know, 3 times in the space of a week and whatnot, weekend, midweek, weekend. There's so much at stake because you're at the business end of the season as well. He goes, I can guarantee within the first couple of weeks, he goes, players are dropping like flies through injury because you're asking them after taking such a long period of time away, right, to go back into competitive football at such a high level. You got to remember, because listen, Robbie, what normally happens is that pre-season's gradual. Players regain their fitness bit by bit. Players play the odd 40 minutes here, 45 minutes there, and change teams completely at halftime and whatnot. And then it's a slow progression. And we go and watch pre-season matches and we watch the progression week by week, game by game as it goes. And even when the Premier League starts, those first couple of games are always at a level where you feel like they're just not 100% yet and they're building themselves up. What you're going to ask these players to do is, let's say the games start end of May, right? 10 weeks, 12 weeks off, something like that they would have had of no football. There's no friendlies. No, but you can say that, Robbie. You can get your violin out, mate. But at the end...
Well, I lost it. I didn't mean to lose that. That was an accident. Sorry, I cut you off by accident.
Yeah, of course you did. But they're going to go 10, 12 weeks with no football tour or anything. There's no friendlies. There's no building their fitness levels up. And straight away, you're going to go, bang, straight into Premiership competition.
I understand all that. But we're in exceptional circumstances right now. And they're just going to have to swallow that. You know what I mean? That's how it's going to be. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's going to be the circumstance at the moment. You know? So I'm sorry.
Sorry. That's just... You just sat there and said they're going to have to swallow that. And it reminded me.
No, but seriously, they are. Yeah, I mean, that is the situation. I mean, I want to get everybody's opinions on it. Remember, the link is in the description for 888 Sports. Should the season be voided? DT says the season should be voided. I would still like to see this season completed. I want to see it completed now. You know what I mean? It could lift, for me personally, I think it could lift the spirits of some people just to see some football being played. I hear what you're saying on those players, but get on with, I mean, look at the nurses and stuff like that. They're still going in to, you know, and to do their work. The circumstances are not perfect for them. It's completely different to what it normally be, but they're just going to get on with it. And it's just how it is at the moment. So, but, yeah, get along. The link is in the description, and let us know what you think about it. I mean, DT, also, I haven't spoken to you in a week. I did see the podcast you did last week when you had Pippa on, where you was having a go at the players and having a go at some for not taking the pay cuts and stuff like that, and having a go at some of the clubs who are doing the furlough thing and things like that.
The clubs, not the players.
Clubs, all right, yeah, okay. Well, the players now have come out and they've now, you know, giving a lot of money, the Premier League players, to the NHS, and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
what they've done. Do you think do you think now that will all go away, that everybody will just say, listen, well done to the players, and just move on?
I think it will, but also I don't think it should have been highlighted the way it should have been anyway. You know, I think that the government have got a bit of a cheek in bringing them into this. They were easy targets, easy scapegoats. Let's look at some other people within the world that they should, you know, maybe be going after. Are they now going to go after the bankers? Are they now going to go after, you know, all these other people that earn ridiculous amounts of money and use them as their scapegoat now? Because the thing is, and this is what I said, I felt that a lot of the players were in a difficult situation anyway. They were in a tough predicament, because it's not a case of players going, yeah, do you know what? Cut my wages by 30%. Yeah, it's cool. Just do it. It doesn't work like that. These are multi-million-pound contracts with clauses in contracts, certain goals, targets, you name it. And lawyers are involved to make sure that if anything comes out of those contracts, everything is put in the right places. The money goes to the right people. You know, there's a lot that's involved, you know, and it's not just a case of going, yeah, cut 30% of my wages. Yes, all right, no worries. It doesn't work like that. My issue was the football clubs, you know, most notably Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle. I know Bournemouth have done it, Norwich have done it. But you take Liverpool, for example, multi-million-pound company making millions of pounds in profit last year, billionaire owners, and they're asking us, the taxpayer, to pay 80% of their staff wages. You can jog on. All right.
To be fair to Liverpool, they have reversed. They did a U.
They only reversed it because of the backlash. If nobody said a word, Robbie, if everybody never batted an eyelid over that decision, Liverpool would not have changed their mind. They wouldn't have sat there and gone, oh yeah, you know what? I made a mistake. Actually, let me check. No. You just now realize what an absolute balls up you've made, and you've gone, damn, we need to switch this quick. Another club is Spurs. All right. Everything about that club, right? And this is not even just because I'm an Arsenal fan, yeah? But we've said this so many times. There's a reason why everyone hates Spurs. And I think it's been completely shown exactly why. Daniel Levy, you know, all the people that are in charge at Spurs, the Spurs fans are disgusted by what they've done. And then it's compounded by Jose Mourinho going and taking a training session in the park. Now, I know Ndombele has not played well since he signed, and he should be training in a park because that's his level, right? But at the end of the day, social distancing. And the best thing is that Mourinho turns up in full Tottenham tracksuit. Like, what is
purple as well. And then you had two. You also remember there was two players, Davison Sanchez, and also Sessegnon, jogging together as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's another video of Serge Aurier jogging next to somebody, and it's just like, what goes on in your minds? Honestly, what goes on in that head? So Spurs are one. They've not gone and turned it around. But hold on a minute. Have I got a right to complain about this now? You know, when the HMRC come to me for my business tax or for my personal tax or whatever it is, can I go, well, hold on a minute. I don't want to pay tax for Tottenham. I don't want to pay tax for all these rich £1 million companies. No, I can't do that. I've still got to pay tax, and I've still got to pay national insurance and do what I have to do. Otherwise, Mr. Taxman's going to come banging on my door, and then I'll be locked up. And I'll have no choice because I won't be going.
I suppose. Listen, I'm not defending Tottenham in any or Liverpool or any of those other clubs of furlough. But I suppose what their argument's going to be is that they pay a lot of taxes. You know, in normal times, they probably Premier League football pays the government a lot of tax. A huge amounts of taxes come through football. So now they're looking on it like Daniel Levy might be looking and saying, listen, times are hard for us. Yeah, we'll take advantage of that scheme. We put a lot of money into it. Do you lot normally? I mean, I don't listen. I'm just giving what probably their point of view is. I do not agree with it. I think you're right.
How are times hard? Daniel Levy has just received a £4 million bonus on completion of their new stadium, on top of his already £3 million per year salary. Go use your bonus and pay your staff. Do you know what I mean? Why are you coming and asking the taxpayer? You know, we all have to pay tax, you know, up work and everything. And we've all got, you know, some of us high rates, lower rates, whatever it may be. But we all have to do it. These are multi-million-pound companies, man. You know, Newcastle, I've not in any way, shape or form surprised, because Mike Ashley is nothing but a parasite. You know, he's a pig. And that just doesn't, you know, when the government first started lockdown, he tried keeping his shops open, saying it was essential, you know, because everyone was going to rush down there to buy a Slazenger racket or get a massive mug. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's essential. Let's get down there now. And no. It's just, I'm sorry, Robbie, but I think the government made a mistake by not stipulating certain aspects of the furlough scheme and whatnot, because it's basically there for businesses that are genuinely struggling, that like real businesses like that.
I think Spurs will be struggling. They've got a brand new stadium. New stadium. And I know, but we know, we've been through that, how hard that is to pay for. They are going to be struggling.
Yes, but you say that, but like I said, you say they're struggling, but Daniel Levy just got a £4 million bonus. Does that sound like you're struggling?
Actually, well, that's sort of the subject of the video today of the podcast. How are Arsenal going to come out of this coronavirus crisis? Because Mikel Arteta, he did an interview with Sky, and glad to see that he's fully recovered now from the coronavirus. That's fantastic. And in the interview, when they was asking him about transfers, he said, I'm planning 2 or 3 different scenarios that we can face. Depending on one of those 3, we will be able to do more, less, or nothing.
I'll tell you something, Robbie. If it's the latter
or nothing.
Yeah, if it's the latter, the nothing, you may as well cancel your monthly hi and welcome along to Transfer Daily, because we ain't signing anyone. Do you know what? The thing is, I touched on this on my news report show, and I was just like, you can take it quite a few ways. You could look at it upon maybe he won't have any money. You could look at it like he might have a little bit of money, or he could have a lot of money. And that could be based on whether the season's void, whether they go back to last year's standing, whether we're in the Champions League, Europa League, or not in Europe at all. Because if they void the season and go with your current league standing, we're not in Europe at all. If they go by last season's standing, we finish in 5th place. And if Man City's thing's upheld, we're in the Champions League. So that's what that could mean. Or he could be talking about the current situation and when does the window open? Is it going to be open? Are they going to ban transfers for the start of the season? Or so that's what you could mean, because they obviously, the powers that be will have been talking to all the clubs. So Mikel Arteta would have been told, look, UEFA and that might be banning the transfer window. And if we go into next season, you've got to go with what you've got. So that might be what he means by nothing. Or there might be a cap. They might say you can buy some players, but you're only allowed to spend this much. until we get all ourselves back on our feet again. So that might be the middle ground, or the window just might be open.
Or
he's going to get.
He might have got a call already from America that says, "Yo, listen, things are tight at the moment. All right, we didn't do the furlough thing, so if we get games back on that, we'll give you a little bit. If we don't get the games back on, boy, there ain't going to be nothing there for you to buy anybody. That'll be terrible for us. We need players. We know there's several areas where we need to bring in. I mean, if we're going to progress, and that's what I'm asking the question, how are we going to come out of this? I mean, we could come out of this. I mean, everybody's going to come out of it, I suppose, worse off financially. But surely a club like Arsenal, we always told how well run it is. If it's well run, we should be able to take advantage, not fully, but not be in the dire straits that certain clubs will be in.
Yeah. If
it has been run properly, as they always telling us.
Yeah, well, if it is. Do you know what the thing is, Robbie? I'd say we need, if we got three specific players, and spent around about the £180 million mark on those three players. Yeah, I'm just saying. This is
180 million.
Hey, listen. Let me explain something first. Wait there, Robbie.
Have some vodka.
Yeah, I need it. My lord. But no, let me explain something. What I'm trying to say.
We don't even spend that money. We don't even spend that money when there's not a crisis on, let alone.
Listen, you're lucky you're not sitting next to me, because I'll tell you to shut up, man. Let me speak for a second, man. What I'm trying to say is that obviously there has to be player sales in there, and we would have to recoup around about 80 odd million for us to spend. And let's not say we wouldn't spend about £100 million, because we spent 70 odd last season on one player in Nicolas Pepe. So we could conceivably spend up to £100 million. And what I'm saying is, I look at three players, right? You look at Upamecano straight away. Now, the best thing about him is that he's got a release clause. And in the summer, it's £55 million. There's no being, hit out of the ballpark or whatever by bigger clubs. Yes, it's ultimately down to the player and what you're going to offer and everything else, but the price is there, 55 million. Another one which I know you would like is Coutinho, right? Surplus to requirements at Barcelona. They clearly don't want him. Tried getting him last season, hasn't, enjoyed his time at Bayern Munich, so, he's going to be available. What would you say Coutinho is going to go for? 70, 80 million? About that?
I don't think they get that for him. They have to drop their price right now.
Maybe that's what they would be looking at, around about 70, 80 million pounds, but probably 50, 60 million, give or take. And then Thomas Partey, another player, contract running down, wouldn't cost the end of what would he, 50 odd million pounds? They're three players, Robbie, those three players right there. I know this ain't FIFA. I know this ain't an ideal world. I know this ain't an ideal world, but listen, those three players, and if we kept Aubameyang, those three players alone would transform this, like our team. They would transform our team.
Those three players plus keeping Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been staying off their drugs during this break.
Mate,
no chance. No chance.
I have a dream.
Yeah, you sound like Martin Luther King right now. Trust me, because
I have a dream.
Listen, I can't see any of that. I'll be honest with you. I can't see us paying 55 million for Upamecano. I can't see us. The only way I could see a Coutinho thing would have to be some sort of loan. Maybe because I genuinely think that Barcelona are going to struggle to sell him, because they'll be wanting to recoup the money that they spent on him, and they're not going to do that. So it might be another loan deal for him. So, possibly that could be a possibility, maybe a loan. But then there's wages again. And Partey, again, I just can't see Arsenal parting with that money at the moment. I just feel that Arsenal, it's going to be more of the same. Loans, loan deals, and loan deals. Maybe they might make a one signing, but they'll make the Pablo Mari thing probably maybe permanent. And maybe not get another centre back. Might say Saliba and him. Wow. And then they might try and go for a midfield. I don't know. And then, to me, the thing is about it is if they don't really go into making any of those type of signs, what you're talking about, then it doesn't make sense for me then to sell Aubameyang. Although, obviously, he's in his last year, so people will be looking at it and thinking, well, we at least get the money. Listen, if he wants to leave, we have to get the money. But even the sort of money for Aubameyang, even though he's obviously a top goal scorer and stuff like that, because the market is going to be so depressed because of the lack of money and the lack of teams that are going to be going out there to spend big money on transfers, I don't even think we get massive money for Aubameyang.
No, the thing is what's annoyed me about that whole situation is that Aubameyang has never once indicated that he wants to leave the club. Not once. There's been no indication of it. The man's even came out and dispelled rumours.
Not said he's staying, has he?
No, because at the end of the day, we all know he's negotiating a contract. We all know that. We all know that the club have been trying to negotiate a deal. So he's not going to weaken his position at the same time. Because if he openly turns around and says, I'm staying, then it gives the club the upper hand and going, well, you've told everyone you're staying now. So, do you know what I mean? You're not going to weaken your bargaining. But he's openly, even on AFTV, I think it was on AFTV's Twitter, when you put a news report up from someone saying something and it was relaying what this reporter had said, he commented straight on it and said it was lies. Do you know what I mean? Don't believe everything that you read, and I saw the video.
Van Persie never said he was leaving, did he?
No, but Van Persie also came out and done a statement before he left and told everyone exactly why.
Yeah, that was when he was leaving. But up until then, they were asking him the question a lot of times. You leaving? Oh, let me just get on with my football. Oh, let me... Yeah, he never said he was leaving.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is...
never said he was leaving.
But at the same time, none of them ever turned around and dispelled any of the lies that were said in the media.
True. Fabregas never said he was leaving.
No. But Fabregas, the situation with him, again, nobody, there were so many things in the media and whatnot, and none of those players ever dispelled none of that. Do you remember when the Barcelona players for Spain tried putting a Barcelona shirt on Fabregas? Yeah. I didn't see Fabregas turning around and condemning it and saying, you're bang out of order. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm an Arsenal player. That's wrong. Which it was. But the difference with Aubameyang is that he does actually turn around and call out the lies. He does genuinely turn around, and if he sees a lie, he will genuinely turn around and go, yeah, that's a load of rubbish. You're chatting shit.
Yeah, when Fabregas and Van Persie was there, he didn't really have the social media sort of stuff that you have now. Maybe they might have come out and said, oh, that's a total lie.
There's still ways of coming out.
If somebody says, right, Aubameyang linked with move to Inter Milan, and you as the player know that we've had no talks with Inter Milan, you can come out and say that's a total lie. What about Aubameyang's leaving? And then he comes out, that's a total lie. He ain't said that, has he?
No, but what I'm saying is that a lot of the reports have not been about specific clubs. Yes, there's been some clubs mentioned, but there's not been a concrete club that's constantly being mentioned as being, Aubameyang's going to Barcelona. He's going Barcelona. But it's always Aubameyang won't sign his contract. I remember one of the stories, it was Aubameyang is waiting to see whether Arsenal qualify for the Champions League before he signs a new contract. And he turned around and said, well, that's a lie. Straight away.
What do you think then? What do you think? Is he staying?
I think it's down to if he believes in what Mikel Arteta is put him forward. And
yeah, he's been bigging up Arteta. He's been bigging up Arteta a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I've had so many memes made of me over players that have left, and I've said they ain't. I'm praying that he stays, man. If there's one thing that Oba knows, it's how much he's loved at this club. He knows that he's the captain, he's the talisman, he's the main man. You know, I think he'll stay. I do think he'll stay.
Okay. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I know he watches these programs as well. So, Oba, please just stay, man. Please just stay.
You're begging now. What about this? There's been a rumor going around about Bellerin as well, saying that a couple of clubs are interested in him. Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, all interested in Hector Bellerin. We know that he was sort of coming back off of an injury. We haven't seen the best of him this season, but he's been at Arsenal for a long time. Said he'd love to be captain. What would you if any of those clubs came in with a bit, because he's one of the few players that would demand a decent transfer fee. Would you cash in on him, or would you say nah, he's an important guy, we need the players like this in the team who know Arsenal through and through?
You know what the thing is, is that what worries me about Hector is that he just doesn't look the player that I remember a few years ago anymore. He just doesn't look like that player. He doesn't. It's very evident in the way that Mikel Arteta sets up and the way that he expects his players to play. It's very Man City-like, shall we say, with the fullbacks. And where our left-hand side fullbacks do what is needed, the right-hand side, there's never anything. What normally happens is Bellerin gets one-on-one with the last man and he stops and comes back. Whereas on the other side, shift, cross. And that can be Tierney, even Kolasinac, Saka. You know, the fact that Saka is showing himself to be a better fullback right now than Bellerin speaks volumes, because he's a left midfielder, left winger. But yet what he's doing in the final third is what we would expect Bellerin to be doing. You know what you want.
Bellerin, that great goal he scored against Chelsea. Remember that, don't discount. Yeah. He had a couple of good games. I think he's one of these players that probably next season we'll see the best of him, because he's still, you can see, still probably recovering a bit from that injury. But he would command a big transfer fee. I mean, you're talking 30 million plus, isn't it, for Hector Bellerin?
What worries me about Hector is the pace. That's what worries me, because what used to get Hector out of so many difficult situations was his pace. But he seems to have lost it. And I don't know whether that's a result of the injury. I don't know whether this groin injury that he's meant to have been playing through has also had an effect. But, even before we, had this break, I watched a game against Newcastle and what's his name? The winger, the player that plays for Newcastle with a headband.
Maximin.
Oh, my life. He gave him an absolute...
He could terrorise anybody with his pace.
Yeah, but this is Hector Bellerin that could deal with, I remember, do you remember the Bayern Munich game at the Emirates in the first half? And what's his name gave Bellerin an absolute battering. Douglas Costa.
Oh, yeah.
Remember in the first half of the Emirates, we won 2-0. He gave Bellerin an absolute battering. And then in the second half, Bellerin stood up and was unbelievable against him, marked him out of the game, and then was the player that nicked the ball off, I think it was Philip Lahm, crossed it, and we got our second goal and everything. I don't see that in Bellerin anymore. I don't know whether it's confidence as well, but I just don't see a player that tries to take on on the fullback and get to the byline and put crosses in and do dangerous things. It seems to be very much the simple thing. Just keep it simple. Just don't lose the ball. And it just slows everything down constantly.
So would you cash in on him?
Dependent on who you're going to get to replace him and how much we're going to get.
If either Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, or Inter Milan offered £35 million for him, would you cash in?
I'd say we'd have to. I think we'd be silly not to be honest. We've had a lot. How long's he been here?
You're ruthless, man.
No, but
you see, you know what? You see, this is the thing, you know. You see, this is how football fans work, right? On the one hand, you're begging Aubameyang, please stay, and that because he's playing well. And then on the next hand now, Bellerin, who's not through any fault of his own, he's had a horrific injury, and he's coming back. You're like, well, let's take the money, man. So you can see why players, they make these decisions as well. They look on it. They look on it like how we're selfishly looking on it. They selfishly look on it as well, isn't it?
It's not a selfish thing. It's the fact that Aubameyang has proved himself since the day he walked in the door. Aubameyang's been a breath of fresh air to this club.
Look at Lacazette. He's played. He's proved himself since he's coming through the door. But because he's had a bit of a sort of stop-startish sort of season, there have been a lot of people saying cash in on him as well. So you can understand why footballers say to themselves, you know what? Yeah, Arsenal, I like it here and that, but, you know, I'm off, man. I want to win something. I mean, you can understand why they're selfish.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm trying to get at here, right, is the issue that I'm getting at is that how many seasons has Bellerin been a first-team player?
Yeah,
5?
Long time. Yeah, about 5 years. He's 25 now. I think it could be longer.
Yeah, how many good seasons, like proper good seasons, has he had out of all them?
2. Injured for one of them, so take one out.
Injured for one, but I think that the first 2 years that he burst onto the scene was the best I've seen Hector Bellerin.
Yeah, it was
brilliant. And then it wasn't like he got injured and he was like playing really well. He had dropped dramatically before he got injured. And I think that a lot of people are giving him that time because of the injury at the moment. But there is also the sense of, and I'm not just the only one, but how many times when we came out of Newcastle, when we come out of Everton at home and Richarlison had done the same thing to him. Right? How many of us were walking outside the Emirates and going on fan cams or in the pub, talk shows on the radio? We're all saying the same thing, that Bellerin's worrying us, that he's a concern, that he's getting exposed. He seems to be positionally out of shape, like not understanding. And it's no exaggeration to say that I think that Maitland-Niles was probably playing better in that position under Mikel Arteta than Bellerin has. But it's obviously Maitland-Niles' attitude and something that's going on behind the scenes that Mikel Arteta don't like. But the one thing you cannot question about Hector Bellerin is his professionalism. He looks like the type of guy that turns up to training on time, puts 100% in training, encourages younger players, is everything Mikel Arteta wants him to be.
Captain, maybe.
Maybe. You know, even when we're talking about what's going on at this moment with this, you know, this fund that the Premier League footballers have set up for the NHS. They're saying that Jordan Henderson, James Milner, Troy Deeney, and Hector Bellerin are 4 of the names that are at the forefront in helping organise everything. He does come across as that kind of guy. But I don't know. Maybe the new haircut might do him good.
See, everybody's copying me now. See that?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's on my haircut, man. You know what I mean?
What did I used to always say to you, though, man? Don't trust a bald man. Do you know what I mean?
Everybody's on it, mate. Trust me. You know what I mean? The bald style is back.
I know.
Remember that?
Even Kieran's got a skinhead now.
There you go. You see that?
Yeah,
see that? Where did you get it from?
You know, the only reason why the only reason why Kieran's got a skinhead is because while he's in isolation, he watched one of them YouTube videos where it shows how you can do your own fade.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, I can do that. So he tried doing it. Mate, it looked like someone had put a bowl on his head. He had absolutely no choice but to go number one, straight up. Do you know what I mean? So,
mate, make him look younger, make him look even younger than he is. You know what I mean?
So, you know what? I'm going to throw you a name as well. We were talking about Hector Bellerin. What about Lucas Torreira?
Right. So I was actually going to throw, throw that name at you as well, because obviously he's been getting linked with moves away to to Italy as well. Said that AC Milan said to be really interested in him. Again, Arsenal said that the speculation is that Arsenal would accept £40 million for him. The way I look at it, I like Torreira. I really like him as a player. I really do. And I'd love to keep him. But if he sort of was saying he wanted to, I'm just looking at players because things are going to be tight. And I'm looking at players that we could possibly cash in on. And only I would be willing to sell him if we were going to replace him. So if we sold him and got a Partey in or got an Ndidi in, I'd accept that, because for some reason, none of the managers seem to fancy him week in, week out, which has been really baffling to me, because I looked at this guy from he came at Arsenal. I was like, this is the answer to our defensive midfielder problems. All right, he may not be the biggest guy, but you don't have to be the biggest guy. Kante's not massive, Ndidi's not massive, and they're two of the best around. But we just don't seem to play him week in, week out. It really baffles me. So and it may be baffling him as well. Yeah, and maybe he's not settled. We heard that at first, that he was finding it difficult to settle. Maybe he's still not settled properly here in the UK. So I'd take the money for him, but we've got to buy if we're not replacing these guys, whether it be Aubameyang, Bellerin, Torreira, do not sell any, because they're amongst our best players. So what's the point in selling your best player? This is what we've done throughout the years, and this is why we are where we are. We sell our best players and don't replace them, or replace them with mediocre players, right? So it'd be like, bringing in people like El Nenis and people like that, just average players that are not going to take you to the next level. So to me, if Torreira moved out, it has to be that you get an Ndidi or someone. But I don't know if I have confidence. It's not in Arteta. In Arteta, I think Arteta's driven. I think Arteta knows what he wants. I'm not too sure if I have confidence in the owners and that of this club to replace that. Would that 40 million or 35 million that we get for a Torreira just disappear? And then emerging from that would be some little El Neni type player that comes in that, being told, he's decent and that, and we've then sold a good player and replaced him with a mediocre. We've got to avoid that. Got to.
Yeah, we have to. And the funny thing is that you mentioned AC Milan. I see the news reports this week saying that Ivan Gazidis is trying to get Unai Emery to Milan. Well, if that's it, then Lucas Torreira ain't going to Milan, because never got on at all.
No. So, I again, as I said, AC Milan, I'm not sure if they'd have the money to fork out 35 million for Torreira, because they were already in financial problems.
It does seem very much like Torreira's homesick, and like his home in his world is
Italy.
So
Uruguayan people very tied to Italy, very Argentinian, Uruguayan people. They have a big tie to Italy. You know what I mean? They so but I like Torreira. I'd like to keep him. I just want to see him playing week in, week out. I just don't understand how we play him. But if that's not, if he left and then we brought Partey in, cool. That's cool. But
But will they do that?
You know it'd be like, innit?
Yeah, I know.
Little...
One second. Hold on.
So where are you going now?
The joys of modern technology. Hold on.
What's up with this guy?
I forgot to plug my laptop in. The battery was about to die.
Your laptop running out of battery.
Got to save on the electric, ain't ya? Do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Trust me.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the joys of doing the live streams. That don't happen in the real one. Do you know what I mean? But
oh boy,
I get what you're saying. The thing is, you're looking at some of the players that, you know, and yeah, it is. It's, you know, if we got rid of a Torreira and we got 35 million or so, and then we got in a Thomas Partey and he cost us what would be 20 million pound because he's 55, we've got 35. Do you know what I mean? Then I don't think there's going to be a fan that would be like up in arms about it. Everyone would be like, right, okay, cool. Yeah. But like you say, the worry is selling a Torreira and bringing in an El Neni. And you got to remember, we still actually own El Neni.
Still got El Neni. Still got Mkhitaryan as well.
I think that he will go to Roma.
Yeah, but you know, Arsenal seeming to want about 25 million for him. Roma want to pay 10 million.
See, yeah, no, this ain't right. We need to get Liverpool's negotiators involved.
Sorry?
You know what I mean? You know, Liverpool's negotiators, because they seem to get ridiculous money for like even their squad players. So it's
True.
like, look, at the end of the day, he was having a good time in Italy. He was doing really well at Roma. And I think maybe the slower level of play in Italy in comparison to the, you know, the pace and the intensity of the Premier League suits it. So, you know what you can do, 25 million pounds. I wouldn't go lower than 20 anyway.
I don't think we get that.
And
I don't think we get that. And again, he's over, what, he's about 31 now as well. So I don't think we get that. I think probably that valuation of 10 to 15 million is probably accurate. You know, I can't see us. You know, that's it again. Our transfer policy over the years has left us with a lot of players that the only players of value are the players we want to keep. Lacazette, again, is another one that's getting mentioned a lot about, you know, do we cash in on him? What do you think of that one?
He's still, how old is he? 28?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't cash in on Lacazette. That's the thing. I haven't, he has had a bad season. But let's also remember that he was our player of the year last year. Everyone was singing his name. Everyone was singing his praises. There weren't anyone.
He's been picking up.
Yeah, he's been doing all right. He is. And it's, you know, I would rather, you know, I see people sitting there saying like, oh, but, you know, we need Aubameyang as the main striker and that's it. And at the end, why can't we have two top draw strikers?
Exactly.
Why?
I agree with you.
You know, at the end of the day, Manchester City have Aguero and Jesus and whatnot. Why can't we have Aubameyang and Lacazette? Why do we always just have to have one? Why do we always have to have one?
Liverpool, look at their front three. You know what I mean? I agree with you. I mean, and it's always a problem when you've only got one striker. Look at Tottenham. They're so dependent upon Harry Kane. And when the minute he's out, they're in problems. So I agree with you. We need to have the two of them. But whether we will or not, that's going to be... I mean, in conclusion, let me just ask you the question again. How will Arsenal emerge after the coronavirus crisis is finished? Are we going to be in a good shape? Or is it going to be... We're going to be like one of those teams that it hits us so hard? I mean, what do you think?
I'm putting a lot of trust in Mikel Arteta. And I believe that he can get the best out of what he's got and add to that sufficiently. I think that we need to look at what he's done already at the club. I think that the way he's turned a lot of the players around, some of the players that, you know, all of us were past, you know, thinking about, you know, Mustafi, prime example, you know, how he's turned the corner at Arsenal is beyond belief. He went from, you know, posting back on top constantly on social media and getting absolutely abused on social media to now the guy posts on social media and it's nothing but love. Like, he's genuinely turned everybody around. Is he the answer? No. But could he be someone that you could have in the squad and be dependent upon as part of a squad? Yeah, he could. But I just put a lot of faith in Mikel Arteta because, we see week in, week out what he does. We see players changing and turning a corner. There also seems to be a ruthless streak within him that if you're not doing what he wants, bye-bye. He doesn't care who you are. No reputation, no nothing. Like we was just saying, Maitland-Niles, for me, played better as a right back under Mikel Arteta than Hector Bellerin has.
Mm.
But yet Hector Bellerin gets picked week in, week out because obviously he's doing more in training to show Mikel Arteta why he should be there. Guendouzi plays up out in Dubai. Next league game, Newcastle, when they come back, wasn't even in the squad. Arteta never even hid the fact of why he was out. He turned around and made it very clear. Reason why he's not in the squad is because of an incident out in Dubai. I've dealt with it, and let's have no more of that. And Guendouzi's kept his head down. But he hasn't been playing a lot of football because Mikel Arteta is basically saying, well, you've got to prove yourself now. You're not going to mug me off. I'm the boss. I'm in charge. Don't like it, out the door. And I like that. I like that side of him. So I do trust Mikel Arteta, but at the same time, to back in. He needs to be given something. And I know things are different at the moment in terms of the whole world and what's going on and where we might be. But surely Mikel Arteta, when he took the job, was made promises. We all know that Arsenal staff,
Yeah, but that was pre the coronavirus.
I know that was pre, but what I'm saying is that, we all saw Vinay and all that up in Manchester at his house for like a week. They were negotiating and whatnot. Surely part of those negotiations would have been the plans. What kind of transfer budget? What is he allowed to do, not do, etc., etc. And I know there has been a slight change now because of what's going on in the world and everything. But you would like to think that the board, who would have gave him their backing back then, will give him their backing now. When times are even harder, to say, you know what, you need us even more now. We want you to succeed. We're going to back you to succeed. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, well, that's what you're hoping. That's what I'm hoping as well. I think you're right. Mikel Arteta is going to be the key to this, to how Arsenal emerge from this, because I just don't think we're going to be splashing the cash. The key to it is going to be, do we keep hold of Aubameyang? If he does go, how do we replace him? How do we play as a team? Do we change how we play as a team? A lot of it is going to come down to how Mikel Arteta performs. DT, thanks very much, mate, for coming on the podcast today. Stay safe, mate, and enjoy your Easter. And to everybody out there, don't forget, the link is in the description for 888 Sport. Jump onto that now. Should the season be voided, we will be back next week with another podcast. The coronavirus has not just affected the world of football, but has affected everybody. But you know what? We can defeat it. If you're displaying any of the symptoms, always make sure that you self-isolate. I know it's a terrible time, but we will defeat the coronavirus. We will be back.